Rather than reveal sequences in order, the writer slowly revealed pieces of a tragic call. Firehouse 51 had responded to a house fire, and a firefighter fell through the floor. But who was it? Deputy Commissioner Wallace Bowden was tasked with investigating what went wrong. That led to the return of actor Eamon Walker. He played Chief Bowden for the first 12 years of the show. Commissioner Grissom assigned Bowden to investigate what Firehouse 51 did on that call. Who got hurt on Chicago Fire? Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 18 left one of its firefighters clinging to life. Just a warning that there are spoilers ahead. Jumping ahead in the story, later in the episode, it was revealed that firefighter Jack Damon had been seriously injured. Damon had been progressing through the fire when the attic floor gave way, dropping him 2 stories inside the house. To make matters worse, the other firefighters thought the house was clear after Chief Dom Pascal ordered everyone out. The investigation was conducted to determine how Damon got left behind and if his injuries could have been prevented. What happened to Damon on Chicago Fire? Chief Pascal ran down the list of injuries Damon was dealing with when Bowden arrived at the hospital. Possible compression fractures, internal bleeding, respiratory burns. He's fighting for his life right now, Pascal told Bowden. The good news is that Damon survived the fire, even though viewers don't learn that until near the end of the hour. The bad news is that Damon may have suffered a career-altering injury that could end his time as a firefighter. Kelly Severide, Stella Kidd, and Christopher Herman visited Damon when he woke up. Damon shared the news with Severide. What did the doctors say? Severide asked. They said I got really lucky, Damon responded. It could have been a lot worse. Yeah. You're right about that, Severide noted. There's evidence of lung breakdown in my X-ray, Damon revealed. They won't know how extensive until I can get a CT. Now it's a waiting game as they hope Damon's lungs weren't permanently damaged by smoke and heat inhalation during that fire. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out, Severide told a worried Damon. When Bowden arrived at the hospital, Chief Pascal laid out the grim reality. Damon's injuries were severe. Compression fractures, internal bleeding, and respiratory burns painted a dire picture. The fact that Damon survived it all was a miracle, but the long-term damage remained unknown. The most concerning injury was the potential lung damage. Smoke inhalation can cause irreversible harm, and if Damon's lungs were too compromised, he might never pass a firefighter's physical again. This looming threat cast a shadow over his recovery, leaving both Damon and his colleagues grappling with the possibility that his time at Firehouse 51 could be over. A firefighter's worst fear. For Damon, waking up in the hospital brought relief, but also dread. Firefighting wasn't just a job for him, it was his identity. When Severide, Kidd, and Herman visited, Damon's forced optimism couldn't hide his fear. They said I got really lucky, Damon told Severide, downplaying the severity of his condition. But the mention of lung breakdown in his X-rays was a red flag. Without a full CT scan, the extent of the damage remained unclear. If his lungs were too scared, even routine smoke exposure in future fires could be life-threatening. Severide's reassurance, whatever happens, we'll figure it out, was heartfelt, but it couldn't erase the uncertainty. Damon's career hung in the balance, and the waiting game was agonizing. Firehouse 51's guilt and resolve. The incident didn't just affect Damon, it shook the entire firehouse. The thought that one of their own had been left behind haunted the team. Had they missed something? Could they have acted faster? Kelly Severide, as the squad leader, carried extra weight. He prided himself on keeping his team safe, and Damon's accident felt like a personal failure. Stella Kidd, too, struggled with guilt, wondering if she could have done more during the evacuation. Even Herman, usually the firehouse's emotional anchor, was visibly shaken. But if there's one thing Firehouse 51 does well, it's rallying around their own. The team's visit to Damon's bedside was a testament to their bond. They weren't just coworkers, they were family. And if Damon couldn't return to active duty, they'd make sure he wasn't left behind again, this time in a different way. What's next for Damon? The biggest question now is whether Damon will recover enough to return to firefighting. Chicago Fire has never shied away from the physical and emotional toll of the job, and Damon's storyline could go one of two ways: a miraculous recovery. Damon's CT scan could reveal minimal damage, allowing him to return after intense rehab. This would be the optimistic outcome, but given the show's history of realism, it might be too easy.